I think it's important to understand if you're full of worry, stress, and anxiety, one of the reasons or some of the reasons why you may be full of that is because you are holding on to people, places, or things that no longer align with you. And it could be because you care way too much about what people are going to think about you letting them go or letting that thing go or letting that situation go. And I think it's important to understand that when something is fueling you with anxiety and depression and whatever the case may be, I think it's important to understand that you don't necessarily, if it's a job, if it's whatever the case may be, it's important to take the steps to get out of that situation. It's important to take, if you can't fully cut it off immediately, it's important to take the steps to do what's necessary for your mental and your emotional health. If you have to, take some days off, or if you have to find another job, or if you have to just completely, let that situation go, I think it's important to understand to pick and choose your fights and pick and choose your consequences. For example, right, if you let go of that job and then that puts you in a situation where you don't have any money to take care of yourself or whatever the case may be, I think it's important to understand to have faith and trust in yourself and trust and believe in God, the universe, or just yourself or whatever you believe in. I think it's important to have faith and move with your intuition and understand yourself enough to understand when to let something go, and understand that yes, you might have to deal with a consequence on the other end of that, but is that consequence worth your mental and your emotional stability? And I think that's important to understand when it comes to having to cut off a family member, having to cut off anybody, or having to cut off or having to walk away from a job, or having to let go of material things. I think it's important to understand that, to really ask yourself, is those things worth your mental and your emotional stability? Is that worth you going crazy over? Is that worth you having even physical health go down and drain? Because I think it's important to understand when you don't take care of your mental and your emotional health, that weighs on your body and weighs on your energy. And I think that's important to understand, because I think a lot of people think that just, mental and emotional health is just that, and you can just ignore it and push it to the side. But the more and more you push it to the side, the more and more it'll take toll on your life even more. So I think it's important to understand to really trust yourself and to really listen to your body and to really listen and